By the way, last night, the first half was somewhat interesting. The second half was a dud. But is there a guy in football that's having more fun than Ryan Fitzpatrick? I don't care what anybody says. We saw him here for it seems like ages ago as the quarterback of the Jets, where he had one good year and then he had one year where the team flopped under him and everything else. But this guy, man, has got like 19 lives. There's no question about it. And in the first half last night, running all over the place and lowering his shoulder and trying to get first downs and everything else. I'm saying, is he trying to knock himself out of this game or what? And at one point, going back to the previous game, I think he had 21 or 22 straight completions, and the record for that is 25, I think Troy and Joe were talking about last night. So, I don't know, man. It was a terrible second half. There's no question about it. It was not enjoyable at all, but I will say that Ryan Fitzpatrick lives to play another day, man. He lives to play another day, and God bless him, man. He loves playing football. He loves being a quarterback, and everywhere he's been, he has been a guy that's either been the reason they've lost or the reason they've won. But, man, he looks like he's playing better than ever.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lesson in expectations, because nobody's really expected him to be great no matter where he's been the last couple of years, and maybe in Buffalo when they gave him a lot of money.
Hey, the Jets gave him a lot of money for a year, too.
Yeah, but that was 1 year. It wasn't like the pressure of the organization was on his shoulders. I mean, I think it was sort of, it's just like Ryan Fitzpatrick is here, at least the last couple of years for sure, if you think about it. I mean, with the Buccaneers and now here with the Dolphins, it's like nobody is expecting him to be good. He understands that his career is not going to last forever, so he goes out and he has a good time. I mean, I think that there's some young quarterbacks with some pressure on them with the shrinkage that they have, like a Sam Darnold, that could learn a thing or two from Ryan Fitzpatrick, enjoying what he's doing out there. Now, when you win a game like last night, I mean, I'm sure he wasn't enjoying things as much the first couple of weeks when they lost, but, I mean, he's having fun. Like, he just doesn't really care all that much about the seriousness of things, because he knows that he's only got a limited time to go out there and start and play NFL football, and he's maxing it out. He's just enjoying every morsel, because it could end at any point. It could end next week, and the week after, too, it could come in, and that'll be the end of Ryan Fitzpatrick as a starter.
Well, you're right, and on the other side of the ledger was Gardner Minshew, and he looked like he was running all over the place. He was looking at the pass rush, and a couple times they got to him quickly, especially on fourth down a few times. But I was a little disappointed in his performance, given the fact that the Dolphins got shredded by Josh Allen last week. So, it was a really disappointment. A performance that I expected more out of him, and I thought that they were going to be better, and the youngest team in football, they should be able to bounce back on a short week, the whole thing. And all of those things that you thought about basically were not true. And the experience of Ryan Fitzpatrick and, a bounce-back performance by the Dolphin defense was more the story last night. So it doesn't mean anything.
Speaking of Ryan Fitzpatrick, Al won his prop bet for the rush touchdown for Ryan Fitzpatrick. That was a big number too, wasn't it? It was plus 500, something like that.
Well, I'm not sure what it was. I bet $10 and I won $75.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
but that's dinner for you and Gina tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Perfect.
Thank Fitzy for that.
Yes.
Yeah, and his number was higher than Minshew, and then Fitzpatrick got in the end zone with that rush touchdown, and then there you go. And that's one of those that I'm sure you woke up and you saw it, right? So you were, thrilled with that one.
Well, the way I did it, I looked at the headlines, and the headline said, Ryan Fitzpatrick responsible for 3 TDs, which made me right away I knew he ran one in, or they would have said through for 3 TDs.
Right. Responsible for.
It's always about the words and how they're placed in the sentences, Al. That's a very good job on you realizing that. Now, the other thing that's going on here, I don't know if you saw this, but the White Sox now have lost 5 games in a row. So they're playing about as bad as the Yankees are. And right now, that's who the matchup is.
They're playing worse than the Yankees are. I'll say they're playing worse, because the Yankees did have that winning streak.
Yeah, I know, but so, the White Sox had a winning streak and all that other stuff. They got swept by the Indians, dude. They lost 4 in a row to the Indians. And
the
now
Indians are coming on, man. They're the playoff Indians. They can smell it.
Right.
They go to the postseason every year now, so they know what's up.
But those teams out there, the Twins, the Indians, and the White Sox, still have not figured out who's won that division yet.
Yeah.
So this weekend is going to obviously be huge for that division, and it will be huge for the Yankee fan to see who the Yankees, end up playing. I look at all those teams, and I know there's history between the Yankees and the Twins, but I also know that much like the Toronto Blue Jays, who they split the season series with, by the way, it's 5-5, but the Blue Jays, the Blue Jays, the Twins, the Padres, the White Sox, man, they got all these young sluggers, man, and all these young kids that can play baseball. And I know it's going to come down to pitching and everything else. I'm not really sure who I'd want to play if I were the Yankees. I think I'd want to stay away from the Indians. That's my initial, because I think of pitching and everything else. I think that's the team I'd like to stay away from in the first wild card series. But man, I'll tell you, it is a race to the finish here for the Central.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be worried about those three teams if this was a normal series. This was a 5-game series, but the fact that it's 3, and then anything can happen. We've seen the Yankees just look terrible. I mean, then any team could scare you. I mean, I really do think that it's going to come down to the Yankees and Rays in that ALDS after this first round, and the Yankees will get through it regardless of the opponent, and then that's going to be the series that's going to go 5, and we're going to see what the Yankees are made of in that situation because the Rays have been better than them all year in head-to-head matchups and throughout the course of the season. I just think that that's where, if it's going to end early, it'll end early there. It won't end early in the wild card round. And it's tough to evaluate because I know Eddie always says this because he is the Yankee hater of all Yankee haters. But he always says that, if the Yankee season doesn't end in a championship, then it's a colossal failure, no matter what.
I agree, Eddie.
It's a colossal failure.
100%. Eddie is
now,
so
but
right
how
with
do you,
that.
But in this particular season, with this setup, and the injuries that they've had, is it still a colossal failure, or is it just 100%. The fact that you can get knocked out?
Even more so, because they're letting the city down. The city needs to pick me up just after 9/11 when they lost to the Diamondbacks.
What a take! A city pick me up. What a take, man. That's
but he's
ridiculous.
Right, though. I mean, so you're gonna go with Cole, Tanaka, and Happ. Is that what it's going to be? And Happ may end up having to be your guy that has to win, a game 3 in a 3-game series?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it'll probably be. I mean, I was really counting on maybe Davy Garcia being the guy, but I'm not so sure.
I don't know if they trust him.
I know. It's hard to. Young guy. But I don't know, man. It's so up in the air with it's a 3-game freaking series. But Garrett Cole has to win game 1, and then you got to figure out a way to scrap through another one. Then you get to the Rays, and then I don't know, man. It's going to be hard to pick the Yankees.
You get to the Rays. I would just be worried about the next game, the series that I'm playing next.
Dude,
that's it.
Every year, and the only time every year it's the same thing. Like last year with the Twins. But
it's not the same thing. This is a pandemic year. This is a 60-game season year for some teams. Other teams are only going to play 59 games. But I'm just saying that this is like an oddball year. And what I see in baseball is teams like I said, the Padres, the White Sox, the Blue Jays, all these young guys in a lineup, man. I mean, the Blue Jays look like an all-star team of former players with all the names on the back of the of the jerseys of their dads.
Yeah, I know, which is very, very cool.
Unbelievable.
I know. It is kind of a cool thing. But, yeah, I don't know. I cannot be worried about the Yankees against teams like that until they get knocked out. The 3-game series definitely will scare you, but I just remember last year, this is a different Twins team. I'm telling you, it's not the same Twins team that the Yankees have been beaten up on for years, but they just have a spell over that organization. I think they'll turn it on in that first series. I just don't believe that there's a team better than them, even in a 3-game series, other than Tampa Bay in the American League. Hey, I just don't believe that there is.
All right, if the Yankees don't win, who are the villains? Who's going to be held out to dry? It's probably going to be Stanton and Sanchez, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
Stanton's like in a 1-14 or 1-15 slump now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I don't care what his reputation is, and I know. By the way, Clint Frazier's in a big slump as well. As a guy that you really need to kind of figure it out as you go into the postseason. But Giancarlo Stanton is he's an anchor. He really is. I mean, the Yankees have been better without him than they've been with him for an extended period of time now. We're talking about a full season last year, a postseason that got you deep into the ALCS last year. This season here, this 60-game season, I've got no use for him if I'm Aaron Boone. I'm just tired of waiting for him.
Oh, forget that. Aaron Boone's got no say in this.
Tired.
He's got no say in it at all.
Brian Cashman and Aaron
Brian Cashman and the collaborators.
All right, you understand. The
right,
collaboration
but I'm just saying it's the underbelly of the Yankees that are making the decision. You know that.
Well, if I'm the underbelly of the Yankees in the room, I'm looking at this guy saying, I don't want him anywhere near the team. I don't. I mean, just so
they're not going to say that, Mr. Underbelly. They're going to say
why not? If they're so smart with the freaking computers and the numbers and all that stuff.
Well,
this is what drives me nuts about this. So everybody talks about analytics and diving deep and the general managers and they're sifting through the numbers. And it's a bunch of nerds in a closet with papers stacked all around them. And then when it comes down to it, a guy like Giancarlo Stanton, who has been invisible for a year and a half, we got to put him in the lineup because he makes a bunch of money and won MVP 3 years ago.
That's the number that counts.
Oh, stop.
It's the $30 million number.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, do you want to win? You want to put a guy in a lineup just because he's making a bunch of money and it's embarrassing for you if he's not in the lineup? I mean, you got to make that choice.
Do you think they're hoping that he pulls a hamstring?
You know what? That's a good question. I think that answers a lot of problems for them. It does. I actually think that, well, let's put it this way. I don't know if they're hoping that he does, but they wouldn't be upset if he did. One of those. They would not be all that upset if he did. But, yeah, I mean, I look at him, I think strikeout. Same thing with Gary Sanchez. I mean, if you're watching this team and those guys, and you actually have a positive expectation when they're up, then you got to write a book about how to look at the world glass half full. Because I don't know how you can look at those guys and expect positive results.
Well, all I know is that you better hope the Yankees don't pull the New York Rangers and go 3 and out. Boom, goodbye.
A little different. Different.
I don't know about that, different. Man. We had expectations. But the good news is we got the number 1 overall draft pick coming October 9th. Thank you very much.
You did not have expectations like the Yankees had expectations.
Yes, we did.
Okay, maybe
and then our goalie got hurt in I don't know how he got hurt, but somehow he got hurt, and the whole thing went to the
crapper.
You know where it went.
Yeah, I know exactly where it went. But you're like a Rangers psycho, so you had expectations. Going into this 60-game season, the Yankees were far and away the World Series favorite. The Rangers were nowhere near a Stanley Cup favorite going into that three-game series.
They were one of the teams before the break that was coming on, that was really making a run, and they found their game. Right. They found their goalie of the future. They actually had 2 of them. And then when we got to the playoffs, unfortunately, one of those goalies of the future was hurt and was unable to play, unfit for play. And then, we went with Henrik for a couple games, and things didn't work out well. I mean, and then we're out, and then we got the first pick overall in the draft. So we actually won by losing.
You did.
That's the way I look at it.
But the Yankees will not. The Yankees will not win by losing.
But the Yankees better not do this, man. I'm telling you, if they do this, if they go and they lose to the White Sox, the Indians, or the Twins, who, by the way, if you take a look at their records compared to the Yankee records, obviously, significantly better. I'm telling you, it is going to be a massacre around here. It's going to be a massacre. I don't know who's going to get massacred, but it's going to be full on, get this guy out of here, get that guy out of here, and they are going to be feeling the Adam Gase rants.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that any normal season that'll happen, you'll get a little bit of that. I just don't know if it's going to be of epic proportions.
You're making excuses because of the way the season
I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you, there are Yankee fans that are so diehard that don't have the passion for this season that they've had in the past. Like Dan and Carteret, for crying out loud. Same thing. That guy's the biggest Yankee fan I know. It's just he just feels different about this season. So I just wonder.
You're going to tell me that Dan and Carteret, and I don't want to speak for him, but you're going to tell me that he's going to be okay because of a shortened season.
Yes.
That his $332 million or $26 million pitcher and his $300 million right fielder / DH / left fielder, whatever. I'm a left fielder, I should say. Are you going to tell me that you have $600 million being spent between those 2 guys, that he's going to be okay if they lose to the White Sox, Twins, or Indians in a 3-game play-in series?
It's not going to sting as much as it would in a normal season.
Oh, it's going to sting.
For him, it won't. For others, it may. For him, it won't. I'm telling you.
Listen, you don't come and put on the pinstripes to go out and lose in a 3-game play-in series in a 60-game season. I'm sorry. That is what is needed right now, and there's only one team that right now can deliver that kind of feeling to the tri-state area, and more importantly, the city of New York and the borough of the Bronx, and that would be the New York Yankees, who have spent $1 billion on their players.
That is
those
true.
Those players have got to step up and stop screwing around and getting beat by all these younger teams that are showing how it's done with basically little or no payroll.
Yeah, well, that is true, that once again the Yankees are the only ones that could provide that type of happiness. The Islanders did it for a long time around here, but the Yankees are the only, because the Jets and Giants are, of course, on the path to another top 10, both of them, draft pick season for next year. It really comes down to if the Yankees are out right away next week, let's say they lose the first two games as wild card series, it's over. I mean, then we're just sitting here waiting for God knows what in the world of sports.
Thank God for the Yankees. That's all I can say. Yeah, well, we're going to find out. And I'm telling you, it is going to get nasty around here if these boys don't step up and start winning.
Yeah, I know. I'm not so worried about a loss like that last night. Let's get to the nut-cutting time, and we'll see how they do. I think they'll be all right. They're going to be all right in that first series. They are. And in that next one...
You're confident about that.
I am. I'm very confident in it.
Al, let me ask Al. Al, do you feel like I have the pulse of what's going on and how important this is for the Yankees?
Yes, very important for the Yankees.
Very
I think
important.
You're right on it.
Yeah.
100%.
You could say that classic asking Al if you agree with me thing has never gone in the other direction, ever. Al, let me ask you this.
I need it.
Do you agree with my take? Yes, Boomer, absolutely. 100%.
Thank you, Al. I appreciate it, Al.
You got it.
Total support, 100% support.
Very good.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.